I'm in North Bend, Washington, 2 hours south of the Canadian border. I got here late last night with this crazy load. The one I spent 2 days loading in Surrey BC. So basically they gave me all these parts that the oversized load, you know, the parts for that oversized load that the double drop took, and it's a real mess. Now, first of all, we have frames here, right, like pieces of the big frame, and then lots of pieces inside. There's a ladder, then this duct here, but those they were just throwing in those ones, those kind of like housings for filters for this big dust collector, and we tied them down, but they're so light you cannot really, you know, either strap or chain them. Like this piece is heavy, right? These frames are heavy, so I bought some extra timbers. There's shit inside there. There's an electric panel. I don't know. Like this thing was, you know, this is probably the heaviest part. This is the motor. It weighs 7,000 pounds. So, and you cannot tie down. The heaviest part is here, where the motor is. But all this is just, you know, tin. I cannot put any chains on it. And of course the motor sits like this. You know, it has some, you know, see some eyes in there for chains, but that's for the crane. They're too small and they go this way, like parallel to the side of the trailer. Like they're not good to me, right? So I just put some straps over the here. And at first I put one strap, but then I decided, wait a second, 7,000 pounds, you know? And it's like this weird shape. On the other side, it's so I bought these are mine. Paid like $7 for them at the Home Depot. They're really useful sometimes for a load like this, because you don't want the load to sit on a 4x4 timbers. See all this stuff inside here. So it's a mess basically. So then there's this part in the very back. In the very back they put this piece, so it has a little skid. It's kind of yeah, bolted to the skid, and this part is heavy, but then on top they put that, you know, carton. So of course when you try to strap it down, the carton shrinks. So then I said forget it, so I'll just put 2 more chains on it, because in the very back it was gonna start, you know, moving up and down, and you can basically lose it. And then, you know, crazy. And they didn't even have, they still had like probably, I don't know, 50 or 60 more of this. So I said, you know, there's nowhere to put them. Like, what do you want me to do? Put them in my sleeper? You guys, you know, need like a small van or something. Anyway, so the weather is great here in North Bend. It's morning, but it's already warm. So yeah, I was there whole day Friday, and then on Saturday we came back at 8 o'clock, and they started working on me in earnest. The double drop was long gone, and they finished at 4 o'clock on Saturday. So I started driving and I was so dead tired, you know, so I only made it up so far. But the worst part is the agent that gave me this load, the Landstar agent, you know, kind of my dispatch for this trip, prepared the electronic manifest called ACE, and she sent me the cover page, which I need to show at the border, but she did not submit the actual manifest online. There's a button here, submit, and I asked her, did you submit the manifest? Because basically when you prepare that thing online on the page, you can print it out and send it to the driver, but it does not mean that that thing went to the Customs and Border Protection. And that's what happened. So like the broker did everything. Like she faxed all the papers to the customs broker, and the customs broker created the entry number, everything. So I show up at the border, screw up with lights there. The guy says, "Why are you here?" "I have a red light at my lane." I said, "I didn't see it, sorry." So, you know, bad start already. The guy, the CBP officer at the Blaine, Washington entry port of entry, said, "Well, I'm sorry, like, where's your light?" Anyway, he says, "Park your truck, go inside. Your manifest is not, we don't see your manifest on the system. We see the entry number." Anyway, so it was all screwed up. So basically I try to reach people, and it's Saturday, right? I cannot reach my agent, you know. Like when they say that trucking is a 24/7 operation, they mean that drivers work 24/7. Like no agents, no customs brokers work 24/7. I mean, there are some of them, right? But mostly yeah, it's us drivers. So I called the customs broker. "No, our office is closed till Monday." I called the agent, just voicemail. So I left a bunch of messages. I sent an email from the truck. You know, at least sometimes agents, you know, they get the email. You know, I find that it's easier to reach people through email because they do, like, you know, they forward the messages from the office email address, but evidently not this one, not this agent. She didn't want to be bothered. And yeah, so I thought I'd be stuck there at the border till Monday, you know. And they want this load in Butte, Montana, 550 miles from where I am now, on Monday. And I already have another load in Elko, Nevada, which is another 500 miles I have to do empty. So it's all, and I have to load on Tuesday. So see, that's what happens. One guy asked me, like, "How do you drive like this, you know, with no plan? Why don't you line up future loads?" And this is why, because it's all BS on the part of shippers and agents. You see, I spent 2 days at the shipper, and I already booked, like a good boy, right? I booked my next load, and but that's, you know, it's a good thing that basically the customs decided to help me out. And normally they don't do this when the manifest is not on the system, you know. So they made the manifest for this load, you know, because everything is there. They check the load, right? They check the papers, you know. I'm not a terrorist, right? So they see that it's a screw up on the part of the agent. The broker did his job, so they helped me out. But I spent like an hour at the port of entry, and it's already dark. But I only started driving at 4 o'clock, so I had plenty of time. It's just that I was too tired. And then I'm driving, and just north of Seattle, well, like an hour, basically between 1 hour between Canadian border and Seattle, there's a scale. And I have this, right? I have the pre-pass. Someone asked me, like, what kind of transponders I have. That's what I have. I have a pre-pass, and I have the I-pass. So that's for tolls on highways. And that's my new, you know, thing where I can put my camera. But like this small camera is okay for this, but the big camera vibrates too much, shakes. So pre-pass, and I'm very light. Like, one good thing about this load is it's a pretty light load, despite all that steel, you know, because you see my gauge. So I have probably, it's not very accurate, so, but still I probably have, I don't know, maybe 20,000 pounds maximum. Because when I'm, you know, heavily loaded, the needle will be somewhere there, like 40, 45. So this means that my fifth wheel at least is not too heavily loaded. So anyway, and I approach the scale on I-5, and my pre-pass starts blinking red, you know, purr. Basically I have to pull in, even though I have a legal dimensions load, right? I'm light, so I pull in, I go through the scale, 10 miles per hour, and the guy's waiting for me, and he said, and they scale me, and the sign says, "Park the truck, bring your papers." And imagine, I just came from Pennsylvania, right? They barely stopped me. Yeah, they never stopped me. They never checked my papers. I had an oversized load with lights, signs, and everything. Now I'm driving almost empty, and I come in, I go in, and the guys, I said, you know, they didn't stop me. I did almost 3,000 miles with the oversized load. Like, I'm just curious, why did you stop me? And the guy says, well, honestly, it's slow and your load looks weird, so I just pulled you in, we'll just do the paperwork. And he didn't go to the truck, he just, you know, asked me for my logbook, you know, my driver's license, and, you know, the papers, Landstar, like we have a binder with all the, you know, ownership papers and stuff like that. So he just checked, was joking the whole time. So basically the guy was just bored, you know, and that's it. I was going out of there, and then I arrived here. So now I'm all set up. Look at that mountain. I'm all set up to go east on I-90. So my next stop is that Ernie's truck stop in Moses Lake, Washington. I still remember it's exit 179. Yeah, I made a note here, just in case, 179. And then my next stop after that will be Petro in Spokane, exit 272. You know, it's a good idea to plan your stops. Then you have to, then you don't have to wonder, you know, well, where the heck are you gonna park the truck? Because I know there's parking in there. And you see, it's 233 kilometers from here. That's Moses Lake, where the Starbucks is across the road. And the parking is free, I think, for like, what, 3 hours there? So I'll just park the truck, check the load, grab some coffee, and go towards Petro Spokane. So, yeah, one weird load. But what do you do? That's why they pay us the big bucks. Thanks for watching.